Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again to the MDL Qualifiers for the CIS region. I'm Lyrical, joined as well by the lovely Draskyl Dota 2, one of the best Twitter handles in all of the world, as we hop into this game number 1 of Vega Squadron versus Gambit. My man, how you doing? You having yourself a nice old time?
I did. I had a little bit of a break, got some to drink, a little snack.
Ooh.
Also, I like the Twitter shaming. It's good. I'm a fan. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. You know, there's a couple of names I haven't gotten to cast in a while. Like, I think the last time I casted a game with Van scoring it, he was still on Navi.
Oh my
That's
God.
how long it's been. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, that's the last time that I think he was probably super relevant. I guess he played for Empire for a little while, if I'm not mistaken. Tracking like the inner workings of, I mean, any region is tough, but CIS in particular has a lot of rotations. But yeah, it's gonna be a good one. You got BZZ up in here, Bignum, Cheshire Cat, Daxic, and then of course the Vega Squadron lineup, which changed around, I want to say about 3 months ago or something. They've still got a nice little combo of players in this one. I've been fairly impressed with them recently.
Yeah, I definitely recognize Undershock, Blizzy, and Zayak. Palantimos is the only guy I don't know.
10 seconds
So,
remaining.
yeah, I think it should be an interesting match. I mean, sometimes you get like those
5
lopsided
seconds
matches where a lot of people saw the first series and thought that Navi would just 2-0, and you get surprised.
Mhm.
This series, I have no idea who's going to win, which makes it exciting for me, because kind of thinking a team's going to win coming into it by like a wide margin makes it like, it's less fun, right?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And, well, Gambit is going to be taking away the Disruptor, so Slayer is not going to be able to get his hands on that, although it probably would have ended up being him playing the Rubric regardless. Tiny and Viper, a very, very different look to this game than we had previously. I guess that's partially because the heroes banned out. Vega do not want to play against the Chen, Omni Knight, or the Death Prophet, while the Razor, Witch Doctor, and Enchantress are also taken out of the pool. The other thing to mention, this is a very international lineup that you got from Vega. It's not just like all Russia or Ukraine or anything. In fact, they only have one Russian on their team with Undershock, and then it's mostly from Kyrgyzstan, Blizzy and Zayak, and then Plantimos is from, I think, Belarus as well. So they're all over the damn place. But should be a good match.
Yeah, I think the Chen ban especially is like, I actually rate that hero very
10
highly in
seconds
competitive
remaining.
play, just because a good Chen can completely dismantle an early game, gets you a free
5
lane win
seconds
in the
remaining.
off lane. Well, maybe not a win, but like a really big advantage at the very least. So I'm looking to see what kind of style these teams play, because honestly, I have not seen a lot of second pick Viper. In fact, I just haven't seen a lot of Viper, period.
Yeah, he's not really all over the place all that often. I think we saw a couple times at the minor just a couple days ago, but it was mainly like, I think Pepita who was playing it, who I hear is a very accomplished Viper player. But here we go, Dark Willow, it's happening.
Can you use the words accomplished Viper player together? Like, is that a thing? Like, now, I know there was, who was it who really loved playing Viper? It was Pycat.
Yeah.
He would always say that he loved playing Viper, and I would flame him for it, just like ruthlessly every single time.
With good reason.
It's one of those heroes where it's like, you just right-click stuff. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, you got a new active skill that you put on the ground. Wow, impressive. But yeah, I gotta give him credit for it, because Pycat and we go
10
way back.
seconds
You know,
remaining.
it's a good time. But let's see,
5
Lycan pick
seconds
actually
remaining.
extremely good against Gambit's team right now. There is the Clockwork, which is pretty much the only reliable stun. It's still pretty hard to hit Avatos on a Lycan who shapeshifted, but I guess if you catch him before that, it's okay.
Right.
And they got like the SF Shadow Fiend, which is nice for the mid lane. But even with that, we're looking at what, maybe a Willow 4, maybe Willow off lane? I guess we don't know for sure what he's doing yet.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm fully convinced on
10
the Dark
seconds
Willow 4 in
remaining.
competitive yet. I know in pubs it's like incredibly annoying to deal with, but
5
I've been
seconds
seeing it
remaining.
dealt with fairly well in competitive so far, and you end up feeling like you don't do as much just because you can't like snowball as quickly. Maybe that's where those other heroes would work it out, but I like the idea of more of the Willow 3 as... I mean, the big question for me is how are they going to deal with this SF Clockwork? That's feeling like it could be tough.
That's probably the main reason why I think the Willow should be 3 this game, is because they need a hero that's more impactful at moving around the map than a Willow. her spells are just too long of a cooldown to reliably be able to say, all right, we're killing this SF, and if I don't kill him, I got to come back in like a minute. Like that, her cooldowns are just ridiculous. So we'll see. Okay, they actually think that it is a support because they banned Puck.
Radiant team pick.
So they think maybe they were going to go for the Puck off lane, I suppose, and the Willow would have been the 4. But I guess, yeah, we'll see here in just a second.
Brewmaster taken now as well for Gambit, so they've got a lot of early teamfight potential. Control, damage might be a bit lacking depending upon, again, like you're mentioning, that Avatos, if it's going to be reliable. But that's where the Shadow Fiend and Tiny are going to have to pick up the slack.
Remaining.
Last pick for Vega. Initiator or Roamer? What are we seeing here?
I would like Initiation, honestly. Like, I look at their heroes and I see a lot of damage and actual disable, but no hero that really like gets in, you know? Like, they got the Clockwork on Gambit, and the Tiny can toss people in too. Okay, that hero definitely gets in. And that's a combination that we haven't seen in a while. The Lycan NS used to be like first phase material not too long ago, a couple months maybe.
Wow.
But yeah, we've changed it up.
And it's actually going to be a Blizzy Night Stalker, so they're putting it position 3 with Zayak on the 4. Okay, it's a cool draft. I like it. It's still the big question mark for me is how are they going to deal with this SF? I guess maybe like around that 4-minute mark, Blizzy goes for the rotation mid and tries to find a kill. Is that the play?
Yeah, he's definitely going to be the one making the rotations. He's going to play, I guess, similar to how General played for Navi when they were playing against SM a couple of minutes ago. But the NS is great against Brewmaster, especially because really long duration silences just crush that hero. A lot of the time you want to be able to just get in, blink, you know, get your clap off, split, and ideally you cyclone the Lycan when he's in his ult form so he can't just run around and tear people up. But I think he's going to have a lot harder of a time if there's a Night Stalker just running at him and chaining silences at night.
Yeah. So early movements out now by Vega Squadron as they are going to smoke in towards mid, and it looks like maybe try and, I guess, get some deep wards out as well. As far as laning stage matchups, I feel like I always ask this question, but any things that you really need to watch out for, danger zones for either team?
I think the first night, obviously, is going to be the time where Vega feel like that's their time to shine. The low-level Willow, while she does have like a pretty decent base damage and her attack, her bat is really low base attack time, so she can be a nuisance. But other than that, her spells are all pretty long cooldowns in the early game. So I think it's going to be a bit of slow rolling here from Vega. Try to secure mid. And then for Gambit, I think that the hero that's really going to be able to make something happen is probably just going to be the Tiny. And maybe if the Clockwork gets fortunate enough to catch out someone in the cog. That's pretty much the way they're going to get kills here.
Okay. Well, Tiny is moving down towards bottom, it looks like. They were showing the Brewmaster there, and now going to wrap him up towards the top lane. So maybe doing a little bit of subterfuge as mid lane. Mr. Undershock going to be matching up against a Shadow Fiend. Early game rotations, anyone that you think might end up putting themselves, like, trying to find some kills anywhere, or is it going to be fairly static lanes?
I think it'll be static for Radiant, more like a reactionary style even.
Yeah.
Like either that or, yeah, pretty much just reactionary Dota. And then Dire team is going to be the ones probably looking to make more happen just because they do have the Disruptor and the Clockwork. Those heroes are much better at getting early kills. Okay. So if I had to say, you know, Gambit probably has the tools to get the kill before Vega does because they kind of need that first night.
Okay. So, watching this one now, Gambit gonna try and deal some damage while simultaneously harassing, but Vanscore maybe a bit too far forward. He's just gonna try and TP out. Do they have the damage? They don't quite get him. He's by the skin of his teeth out of there.
Yeah, that was like literally the best possible scenario. They catch him out, and 3 heroes are autoing him, and they still can't get a kill. That's like the big issue with this support duo is that you really do lack damage, as you do with, like, you know, most Rubik support duos.
Yeah. The other thing was a very heavy wave push in here top. The Dark Willow pulled the creep wave in towards mid and then ended up heading out afterwards. Now Blizzy gonna try and last hit underneath tower with the Drunken Haze on him. Never the best feeling in the world, but at least he'll get a lot of experience here and get it solo too.
Oh, yeah, this is pretty much just a straight up 1v1, so they're not gonna really have too much outside influence because mid, they know that the Shadow Fiend started with Soul, so they want to try to pressure him, and then because they know that they want to try to pressure him, Big Numb's gonna be sticking around too. So they're like mid and bottom are gonna be the lanes where the majority of this stuff happens.
It's Tiny taking some of that harassment from the Dark Willow, even at just level 1. The Shadow Realm does a lot of damage, and also before 6. Tiny no armor, which could prove to be a bit problematic against this Lycan if they're able to get any extra help. And, well, Zayak moving in with the Dark Willow, but probably needs level 2 before they can do anything.
Yeah, all he's got right now is that Shadow Realm. I mean, it does a little bit of damage, and then that's about it. So even like the level 1 Curse Crown is only a 2-second stun. And then Bramble is only 1, and a lot of people got real good at dodging that real fast as soon as they put Dark Willow in a competitive. So it's one of those spells that you just kind of get used to.
Yeah. I wonder if it's more worth it to take the Cursed Crown first for him in this lane. He's hanging on to the points right now.
It depends on how far up the offlaner is. Like if Daxik is where he is now, then I could see Cursed Crown being useful, but. Otherwise, you know, if he's right by his tower, Bramble Maze probably gives you more bang for your buck.
Okay. Again,
because you need that countdown, right? That time where you're actually going to get the stun, and that whole time he's going to be spent running to his tower.
Yeah. The 1v1 top, definitely Brewmaster in the lead of this one right now. 19-1 versus 10-3. Getting kind of destroyed there, as to be expected with the Drunken Haze. But still, toss back underneath the tower for a second there. Lycan's going to take some damage, should be fine. Although it's going to be caught in the Static Storm. They do have another toss and an Avalanche, actually. It's close to going down there.
Yeah, they're level 1 though, so it doesn't really do that much damage. I think he'll probably go for like the 1-3. Oh, middle lane.
Yeah, Slayer's going to go down. BZZ taking that kill. And continuing to just dominate this lane. 7-4 on the Viper. This feels awful.
Yeah, so a lot of people probably have played the new Viper, and you know he's great and everything, but the old Nether Toxin helped you with last hitting, right? Because it did damage based on the amount of health the monster or person was missing when you hit them. The problem with the new one is that you can't really use it to CS because it's not immediate damage. It's damage over time.
Yeah.
So you lost a lot of your last hitting potential that Viper used to have. So now when you're at a base damage deficit, you actually just get owned in the lane if you're not taking like direct trades, because most people are not going to want to trade with the Viper, so they just try to out CS you instead. Yeah. And he's got a real hard time dealing with that because he's a 280 base movement speed hero too.
And they're going to need to make that rotation in a few to find that kill. In the meantime, though, they are chasing forward for Cheshire Cat. They are dealing a lot of damage in return, though. And the rotation for Bignum means that it's not going to be any type of a kill from Vega Squadron. I mean, Blizzy feels like he can rotate mid at this point, right?
I think that they need to try to kill the Shadow Fiend. Like he got spotted. This is not going to work.
SF under his tower now. Salve. They have a mango, but yeah, he just gets hit by the tower, and well, that about puts the kibosh on that.
Yeah, that was a really awkward movement, to be honest. Like, he walked on the top side of the river. I mean, he is Night Stalker, so maybe he just thought that he would get away with it because his rotation is actually fast. He gets across the map, like, relatively easy.
Yeah.
But you gotta, like, buy a smoke or something, or, like, do something a little bit more sneaky than just, hey, I'm walking through the river.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And you're still looking at this Undershock Viper just getting pretty well handled right now in this laning stage. And this is not a hero that's great at coming back. I guess maybe it's a little bit better than it used to be because of team fighting potential, but still really rough.
Yeah, this NS has to do something. I don't think he can be sitting here farming his lane right now. He is the hero that does stuff. He is the one.
Now, Cheshire Cat, under his tower, has level 6. Like, Dark Willow is here, but there's no way they can kill him.
Yeah, they don't have the damage. Even if he doesn't even have silence skilled. And he didn't skill at a level 6 either, he just put a point into his ultimate, so there is no way they're killing him.
Well, they're going to try and deal damage. If they're not careful, they might end up losing a hero here, in fact. And they're actually going to glimpse them back in. And now they pop the Brew Split. Blizzy in trouble. They actually stunned the creep, though. Did not manage to find that Night Stalker, and that might get him away. I don't know if he would have been dead anyways.
That was that's one of those silver linings. Yeah, I think he didn't have vision on the Willow to get the glimpse on him, so he went for the NS instead. And I mean, they forced a split, so I mean, I guess worse things happened.
Now wrap around mid. Blizzy and Slayer are here, and Shadow Fiend is not. He's just gonna run away. I don't want to be in this lane anymore. There are a lot of stacks in the jungle. Any heroes from Vega that could maybe try and steal that away?
Radiant's top tower is under
Nope.
attack.
They got no stack killers. They got to bring the Rubik plus like 2 heroes if they want to take a stack. And that is just not worth the commitment, especially considering like the positioning of the stacks themselves. You're putting yourself between a tier 2 and a shrine and a tier 1. That's like terrifying. You do not want to be standing there.
Well, things looking up for Gambit right now as Vega struggling to find answers for this, and Blizzy as well as the Rubik, they take away some amount of this. I guess that this draft really, in some ways, doesn't come online fully yet. The Night Stalker Lycan is still going to be strong later.
I think that they do have some scalability for sure.
Yeah.
My concern is just that, you know, Night Stalkers who play 4 do more on the first night than this 3 position has, and he has way more EXP.
Radiant's
Like,
bottom tower is
I
under
really
attack.
thought that they would be able to find something in the first night, but they didn't get a single kill. Like, they didn't TP bottom, they didn't smoke for mid, they just farmed. So it's a bit of a bummer, I think, for Vega right now, and they're gonna have to slow roll it, I think, until next night phase.
Invis, Clockwork. Now, they did force out the Brew Split. Maybe with Lycan in the area, they could try and do something in the next 20 seconds before it's up again. Clockwork was not able to go for an initiation onto Undershock. He is nearby him right now, but still could be tough. He's just going to soak up experience. We'll see if they try and make this move, but 10 seconds left. I don't think that they can do anything to Cheshire Cat now, even with the Dominator on the Lycan.
Yeah, it's a real awkward matchup right now for Vega. They have this problem where they have a very single target focused team, right? So like Lycan shapeshifts, he wants to eat you, right? Wolves on you, just right clicks. Same thing with Viper. It's the same thing. It's the same stuff. So if you have a hero like Brew, you just blind them. They're going for the SF.
Oh, they're thinking about it. Walks up to high ground, and they're going to be able to clap at him. Now the TP rotations are coming in, and that feels so bad. Oh, God.
I think he missed the thunderclap.
That feels awful.
Dire's structures
Yeah, this
are
is really
fortified.
awkward.
And, I mean, Blizzy, no points in silence right here. Lycan also doesn't have any points in Howl. I don't know if that's the normal build or not, but...
I think people usually skill Howl.
Radiant's top tower
I'm not
is
like
under
an
attack.
expert by any means, but I do seem to recall people getting Howl because it's just so good for like fighting potential in the early game, and you already have an NS, and that's like the whole reason you pick the combo of heroes.
Yeah.
It's like the NS makes it nighttime, you Howl, it's good. That's pretty much why people pick the combination.
Yeah. And still, Gambit is going to get these stacks going. So this timing, when you want to be a little bit stronger for Vega, missing out on it now. Taking a look at the CS across the board, now into the net worth, it is still, you know, all of these heroes within pretty close proximity to each other net worth-wise. There hasn't really been any kills at all. A big departure from our last game, our last series, rather.
It's just a farm fest. I mean, it happens sometimes. I think that, you know, the way that Vega start fights, they only have one hero to do it. If he's not making the moves, no one is.
Yeah. And is that bad? Like, it's a missed opportunity in some ways, but does that, like, does that hurt them going later into the game, or do you think that they're still okay?
I think it's going to hurt him a lot, actually. Like, the SF is obviously going to continue to get farmed. He can jungle, he can go pretty much wherever he wants. The tiny off lane, like, Dax, like, oh, he actually just got a kill on the Willow, too. Finds him under the tower and bottom lane. So he's level 9. He's halfway to Blink with drums already.
Radiant's bottom tower is
I
under
think
attack.
they absolutely needed Blizzy to do more.
Radiant's bottom
Level
tower
10
has
now on
fallen.
Tiny, and they are going to scan and hit the Lycan with this one. the smoke onto Disruptor level 6.
top tower is
Oh,
under
this
attack.
Lycan is in a world of hurt, and they're just going to walk forward, I think, and go for the Static Storm. They've caught him. Thunderstrike. Everything dropped onto that guy. The Cogs push away, though, actually gets him out of the kinetic field.
Is under attack.
Maybe a chance there. Curse Crown doesn't end up getting. It does stun onto 2 of them there, but there's the lift up onto the Lycan, and now Undershock wanting to make this work. Another kinetic field laid down means that the Lycan cannot escape. They do bring down the SF, but is it enough? Brucewood is still going. They're starting to burn through this Willow and does have stick charges as well. Curse Crown out a second time. Undershock doing a good amount, but not enough.
Is under attack.
And with 2 dead for only the SF, it looks like they might end up losing the Viper as well. Undershock is very tanky though, and actually manages to take down 1, and now Slayer shows up, able to turn it with the Avalanche. I thought it was gonna be so much worse than this, but Undershock is a man! Oh God!
That is the tankiest snake I've ever seen in my life. He actually just that Fade Bolt salvaged that so hard because you get like the damage reduction. That was a level 4 Fade Bolt too, so it's 35 hero damage reduction, and he had the Ava as well. So he stopped so much damage coming in. They're taking the tower. Now they're gonna get BZZ on top of it.
Vega Squadron!
That's what we need.
Oh, Blizzy now turning to try and get out of these cogs, realizes that he can just fly over them as it comes off cooldown, and now the runaway. They're not going to be able to find that kill on a Night Stalker. Huge turn right there for the Radiant.
Yeah, that was a really good couple of kills. Around like a 2.5k swing, actually. Because until that Gambit, we're definitely leading, so. Nicely done. Daxic, in the meantime, looking for that Lycan, but he's not going to be able to actually get the kill. Still making... He opts to go out of the Blink tech and swaps over to a Shadow Blade, so... He's looking for more actual damage to maybe go for like a solo kill on the Lycan, or he'll definitely pop the supports, like no question.
I guess the other thing is later on being able to break that
Dire's
corrosive
middle
skin
tower
of
is
the
under
Undershock
attack.
Viper is going to be key. We just saw how powerful that was, that last engagement, as Cheshire Cat silenced now, the Bedlam on top of him, and Dark Willow has turned into Dark Willow.
Yeah, that hero's a little bit silly when you hit 6. Like the amount of damage, I think like at level 3 ulti, you can do something like 3,500 damage with a full combo.
Oh God.
It's actually stupid. Like I think that's with Veil though,
Dire's middle tower is under
which he
attack.
is building, so he'll have
Dire's
that at
middle
his
tower
disposal.
has fallen.
And now Vega, they're in a pretty dominant position here. Like they're still hitting a very strong time, and still no Howl right now for the Lycan, which just blows my mind. But I guess that means that they'll have it later too, and it's going to become an even stronger team fighting presence for them.
Radiant's bottom tower
I
is
mean,
under
I guess
attack.
given the way that the game is going right now, they feel like they don't really need it. I mean, their Night Stalker is currently sitting atop the net worth chart right now, and he certainly hasn't needed the Howl. So I guess don't fix what ain't broke. You know, they got the momentum in their favor right now. They're pushing in top lane. They got the Lycan up here already. Gambit looking to respond by pressuring the tier 2 bottom.
Is under attack.
Huh?
Radiant's bottom tower.
They're going
is
to come
under
back in,
attack.
another Cursed Crown there, but the
Dire's
glimpse
structures are
away
fortified.
does mean that they're going to need to bring another back if they want to defend, which means no Willow. And in fact, they're just going to trade out the towers fully.
Dire's top
So
tower
Vega
is
Squadron,
fallen.
their tower being pressured, hard to defend it. They're going to farm out the jungle instead. And oh, are they going to come back here? Okay. They bring in everybody in. Well, they get another glimpse away, but they are almost bringing down that Tiny. The Static Storm is down and has caught the Rubik. Everybody else needing to run away, as he does get the lift back, the stun. Not able to get the Avalanche off in time, or rather the tree grab.
I'm just sad I didn't get to see him pick up a tree.
Are scanning.
I don't think I've ever actually seen that before. Like, I've never seen a Rubik with a tree.
Yeah, that's a kind of cool little interaction there. Vanscore does not manage to send back the Dark Willow far
Radiant's
enough.
bottom tower
And the
is
Shadow
under
Bladed
attack.
Tiny is going to try and run now. The turn here, Ava, toss, trying to cake down and kill off that Willow, which they do indeed do. Well, on the other side, the Shadow Fiend ends up going down, as well as the, oh, Gaviki gets out. Shadow Fiend and the Clockwork go down too.
It was a little bit of a misplay from the NS there. He He didn't know the Shadow Blade was on cooldown, so he uses Void too early. If he didn't Void there, and he just like went for the auto attacks, they would have gotten a tiny kill as well.
Yeah.
But still, you know, momentum still going the way of Vega here. 3k lead. They can just walk up another lane and push if they want to. They did have to pop the shapeshift though, because I think Lantimos wanted to help get us secure on the tiny. But yeah, losing the SF on top of that, ooh, that's a rough one. It's just starting to get to a point where, you know, the laning phase is a little bit slow.
Right.
But we've passed like the 15-minute mark now, and things are definitely picking up.
And they're going to continue to accelerate that. You've got these pickups also. Blizzy going back for the pipe. One of the downsides that people often talk about with Night Stalkers, they doesn't provide a ton for the team outside of vision, but now also going to get that magic resistance, has a drum. It's a very team-focused draft overall also. Like, you know, the Helm of the Dominator on the Lycan, all those normal things building back towards Necro Books, a Veil on the Dark Willow. They're hitting hard.
Yeah, they are definitely not lacking in the damage department, I'll tell you that much. Even just the Night Stalker auto attacks, you know, phase drums, you get a fair amount of damage from that, then you get the attack speed bonus from Hunter in the Night. He definitely can throw out some DPS. And then, of course, you have Zayag's Willow. Time hook shot here.
Terrorized to try and get the rest of them away, and they're able to force staff the Lycan away as well. Now finding that kill onto the Clockwork. And they keep on getting cogs pushed out of the Static Storm.
Radiant's middle
Yeah,
tower
there's some
under attack.
anti-synergy going on here between the Clockwork and the Disruptor, which I think it's mainly just because, like, when they did it in the woods and they found the Lycan the first time,
Yeah.
I think they genuinely did not expect that to even happen.
Right.
That's not an interaction you get to see very much, but it is an unfortunate thing.
Yeah. I don't know if they would have been able to kill him there anyways, because the Terrorize was already out and like able to force a lot of them away. But nonetheless, it is a push towards Roshan now. Vega trying to take this down. You have Shadow Fiend walking over as well. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get there in time, though. Looks like the answer is no. Clockwork also too far away and hookshot on cooldown. So Vega pick up Roche, and now, are they really trying to fight this here? They're going to pull back in another one. Slayer controlled for the moment. Bramble's down as well. It's on to a couple of these heroes. There's going to be the Fuel Scepter, so he does not get stunned. Cheshire Cat still walking forward, has his ulti. But Gambit will have to be content with just burning that Rubik.
I mean, that's good enough. They what, traded a Rubik for Roche? I'd say they're more than satisfied with that one. They are probably also going to lose this tier 1 in the mid lane, but again, it's about what does the Aegis actually give you an opportunity to achieve. Like, are you going to get the tier 1s? Are you going to finish off the tier 2s? You know, how willing are Gambit going to be to fight into your Aegis? Because this is a Viper with a full Hurricane Pike finish. He's almost level 14. He's very hard to commit to in the first place, even to kill him once. And you can walk up to a tower with this guy, and it's going to be real difficult for Gambit to do much about it.
The Tiny finds the Dark Willow in the woods. Now Blizzy. Gonna pop Nighttime here as well, saving that Void as you were talking about earlier. He also has a Dust available for the Shadow Blade. Gotta be careful though, because still affects status resistance, that Dust. And Davik, they end up throwing it now. Dust's gonna come out, very low duration. And the chase, they don't look like they're gonna be able to get there in time. Instead, they're just gonna have to settle for the victim kill, and then maybe a push afterwards.
Yeah, they're definitely going to get this tower. I mean, the Lycan Shapeshift is also going to sync up with this pretty nicely. He'll have it if they want to continue to go to the tier 2. And because of the fact that the Brewmaster had to go Yule's first, he doesn't have Blink yet. So Cheshire Cat is kind of in a situation where, to be really useful in the fights, he still needs another like 500 gold. And he doesn't have it yet. So at that time, yeah, I think Lantimos and Undershock are definitely going to take this tower. Look at how much freaking damage they do for
they
it.
got him. They pull him back in there, and it's going to be a kill on the SF in spite of the Static Storm drop. So now no SF, no Static Storm, and no Blink on Brew. This might be their time to shine as they push down bottom, take the second tier 2 tower of this game. And Vega, with only 2 heroes, threatening high ground a little bit, but wait, Viper 4 stats for the high ground. Undershock rather has lost his mind. But now this Night Stalker cannot go for the Hunter and the Knight to try and get away. They're going to Disruptor glimpse back in. Undershock again does still have that Aegis. So even if he ends up falling here, he's going to be able to come back afterwards. The Hurl Baller goes out. Blizzy turning now onto this Tiny, and still, the lift up onto Viper. It's about the best that they can do, but the tier 3 tower is being assaulted. 21 minutes into this one. Vega Squadron looking to try and take this down. Advanced Score, nowhere left to go. He's going to drop. Now the Blink finally picked up for the Brew, but he doesn't have Split right now. Best that they can do is maybe go for Yule Scepter afterwards, but that's going to be a melee barracks going down. Now, are Vega Squadron going to stick around too long? They still have Disruptor Glimpse, but I don't know if Gambit can kill them.
I mean, they gotta do something. Like, they can't just let their entire base die.
Yeah. And the glimpse plays are the thing that Vega need to be a little bit cautious about, but at the same time, Undershock is just sitting under the tower. He still has the Sages.
He's kind of taunting them, but he's just running around in circles getting hit by the tower. It's like, yeah, what are you guys going to do about this? What is your game plan? You know, it's really hard for the Dire team to directly fight when they don't have a way of initiating, and especially because of the fact that Cheshire Cat, you know, he did use a split, but when it's on cooldown, you have no way of stopping the Lycan, the Viper, or the NS. You know, we talked about how Vega is very single target oriented and how they go about fights, which is true. The only like real AoE they have is like the Willow, and that's with just the Brambles, and then the ulti can hit multiple targets. But when you can't control the fight because you lack the disable and the damage, then the single target lineup feels very hard to fight.
And with Howl, it's like, it's just so much. Extra 300 health to all of these heroes, and now they have the silence. Pump faking the terror rays, they finally throw it out, so it's comboed together perfectly, and SF dies before he can even do anything at all. As Vega Squadron gonna storm high ground. They have buyback on SF, but it feels so terrible right now to try and buy back into this fight, and again, the Force Staff to the high ground. Just gonna threaten them underneath the tier 4 towers. And there is nothing Gambit can do to try and stop this. They do have a Silver Edge. There's a way to maybe open this up on Undershock, but look at these Brewlings. They're all dropping. They have the Static Storm down as well. There's the break onto Viper, throwing him back underneath the tier 4 towers. But this is feeling like it's almost their base. Undershot going to go down here. The Aegis, it expires! But he ends up getting all the healing from it. It doesn't matter anyways. They couldn't bring him down in time. And now Gambit, again, looking for answers, but it's not going to happen. Undershot got away, and good game, well played is called. 23 minutes in, that was a stomp.
I gotta say, man, this game started off real slow, and then this game went to like 0 to 100 in like a minute. Yeah. Just, they get that dive under the tier 1 that Gambit did. At first, I didn't think it was going to be that impactful because, you know, okay, you lost a couple of heroes, you overextended, it happens. But as soon as they got Roshan for the first time, it was just non-stop. Tower, 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 tier 3 racks, then the next lane, then the racks again, and it's like, this whole time you're waiting for Brew Split to come off cooldown. You use it twice, then the fire and the air spirit just die. It's like the Brew couldn't really do anything in these engagements. I really felt like he would have had a better game, but I guess it just wasn't the case. Maybe Daxic needed to, instead of like sitting bottom the whole time, maybe needed to walk around the map a bit more and try to get picks, because once Vegas lineup gets together as 5, that fight becomes infinitely harder than if you're just fighting like a skirmish in the middle of the map. So, yeah, like Vega just turned it up.
Yeah, and it was, we were sort of talking about in the draft, one of the problems, you just don't have that damage. Like, Vega Squadron so tanky. The combination of having all these like regen items with like the Helm of the Dominator, drums also for attack speed, and then they have Howl combo together with it. Like, all of these heroes just don't do enough damage, and Lycan did almost more building damage than anybody on Gambit did damage total.
Yeah.
Rough game. But going into the next series, it's rather next game, it feels like maybe a bit of a draft changes could come out. Anything else that you'd really point to at all? Was like the gameplay pretty solid from Gambit, or was it kind of all just falling apart?
I mean, to be honest, I don't think their draft was really bad. I just think that they made a couple of misplays, and when you're playing against a Lycan team, those misplays just cost you a lot more. Like, you don't get the luxury of making that comeback after, you know, okay, we gave up Roche. Normally against a team that's like, all right, maybe the game's going to be hard for a couple of minutes. In this game, it was, nope, one Roche, your whole base is dead.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Execution definitely could be a bit better. I think that the Tiny got a ton. I just felt like maybe he stayed on one side of the map a bit too much, and they might have needed him to be more active. Like, we talked about Blizzy. And he decided after 10 minutes, okay, I'm done farming. Let's just kill everyone, and then they won the game.
All right, well, that's going to do it for game number 1. Game number 2 right around the corner. Vega versus Gambit. Winner moves on to face Navi a little bit later on today. Stick around. More from the MDL qualifiers in the CIS region right after this.